On this week's Hot List, post-COVID positive, the doors are open again without quarantine. What now we must do to encourage visitors to return? Precious liquid, it's gotten serious. Why is cooking oil such a hot commodity? And rain stopper, how MotoGP turned to local magic to save the race. Hello and welcome. This is Hot Indonesia. I'm Dalton Tanonaka in Jakarta. Let's get to it. My co-hosts, Millie Lukito is CEO of the Mobiliati Group from her home in Jakarta, and our guest host this week, Aryo Tejo, managing partner of the venture capital group Absolute Confidence Ventures in Jakarta. Hot topic number one, post-COVID positive. As of this week, visitors and residents no longer have to quarantine upon landing in the country. Tourism Minister Sandy Uno said cases and transmission are low in his long-awaited announcement. Arrivals must be fully vaccinated and a PCR test is required upon entry. Also, visas on arrival are now available again to travelers from 55 countries, up from 13. That'll cost you 500,000 rupiah, about $35. So we are open again. Mobility restrictions are nearly all gone. Now we've got to attract everyone back, not just to Bali, but to Jakarta and Komodo and other destinations. Millie, to you first. How do we do that?
Well, Dalton, it's a very difficult task ahead for the government and for the Republic of Indonesia, I think. Because in my opinion, people, they now will prioritize travel mostly for family reunion. As for business, thanks to COVID, we have found many ways to still continue on doing business virtually. So there is no immediate need for people to travel because of business. And also, people, me included, we now have to reset ourselves. And we have to think of a blueprint of path of recovery. Because we need to recover not only our businesses, but our lives because of the big disruptions for the past 2.5 years due to COVID. So again, I do not think that opening borders and giving out a visa upon arrival will lure travelers to come most immediately. I think it will take another year or even another 2 years for things to become remotely close to what was before COVID happened.
Yeah, well, businesses are hoping it's sooner rather than later. You know, if it's not already in the works, I'd say we got to jumpstart this and have something like a welcome back campaign where all businesses promote discounted prices from clothing to food to golf. Aryo, what would you like to see done?
Business has been going on even with for the past 2 years with COVID restrictions and everything. Deals have been made through Zoom, digital signature, and anything else. So what's interesting about the opening of the borders is, I guess I hope that it will impact more on the leisure side instead of the business. So hoping more foreign travels coming into Indonesia, especially Bali, that has been hit hard, very hard for the past 2 years. And I would really hope that the leisure economy, especially Indonesia, will recover again as it was before. Well, honestly, considering COVID infection in the future, I guess what we have learned from the past 2 years, lockdown did help, restriction did help, but eventually infection still going on. So I think what matters now is everyone, the government, us, and everybody watching is, always follow the protocols and everything. But don't be too scared to start the economy again by getting afraid of the borders opening and everything. But I guess what we should do now is just start recovering again, especially for the leisure side.
Sure, and marketing the fact that we're open again to the leisure market, reminding everyone again what we have to offer is crucial. But Millie, I've seen promotional ads on international media for other countries and companies, but not Indonesia. Millie, are we too late to the party? Are we missing the boat here?
No, Indonesia have been promoting actively through our embassies internationally. But as I said, it will take some time for the leisure market to pick up again.
Yeah, well, my point is, I have not seen one Indonesia ad on CNN or even on the Indonesia channel. I mean, you have to get people excited about coming back again. And Thailand and Singapore, India, they're all doing it already.
Yeah, but don't forget that we just held a very international event last month, Mandalika MotoGP.
Last week.
Yes, through that event, of course, it's an advertising that Indonesia is already open, and we want to recover through doing international scale events such as Mandalika. So we have been promoting and we have been talking outside internationally. But again, for the leisure market to really pick up and to recover 100%, it will take some time still.
And marketing. Now, okay, so tourism, we've talked about it. Adio, what can you say about investment? You touched upon this a little bit. What can you say to those outside of this country who are curious about the investment opportunities at this point in time here in Indonesia?
When COVID happened in 2020, we all thought that all kinds of investment will fall, will destructive, things like that. But surprisingly, if you notice with what happened to IHSG and also some public market investments and also private investment that were done through foreign direct investment and so on, it actually increased a lot more expected even before pre-COVID. So even during that time, it was a blessing for many companies. Of course, I do understand that there were several business impacted from COVID, mostly F&B, leisure, and things that are offline. But in other aspects of the industry, actually, there was a huge incremental, right? Especially in the tech sector, technology sector. So what's going on right now, I guess, in terms of investment, there will be more coming in to Indonesia. Especially, I just checked recently that there are more, unicorn companies, billion-dollar value companies coming out from Indonesia during the pandemic. So that gives a good sign that even though a pandemic, there's still investment opportunities happening in Indonesia, and there are several high super growth companies exist after the pandemic here in Indonesia. So I would say to some sector that will be a more interesting investment opportunities happening.
Sure, and most, if not all, were digital companies, meaning they weren't affected by in-person situations. Okay, Hot Indo will continue shortly with Precious Liquid. Why are these people having to line up to buy cooking oil?
Makin pede sama Tede, karena Tede terampil digital, karena Tede terampil digital. Bersama dengan kami, komputer makin bisa dikuasai.
Saya ingin mengumumkan kerjasama dengan The Indonesia Channel. Saya mendorong semua entitas untuk bergabung dalam upaya ini dengan mempromosikan produk dan layanan mereka di platform digital yang unik ini.
I love Indonesia. I love the food. Yummy. Wow. I'm gonna hunt for ingredients. Now I'm ready to cook. Let's go to the kitchen. It's done. Let's Let's meet to eat.
Foodiepedia on the Indonesia Channel.
Kamu sering lupa mematikan lampu shade. SDP solusinya. SDP merupakan modul dengan teknologi mikroprosesor yang dapat diaplikasikan di semua motor dengan fungsi pembatal sein otomatis setelah berbelok. Jadi tidak perlu khawatir lagi ketika lupa mematikan sein. Untuk keselamatan berkendara, pasang SDP di motormu sekarang.
I'm Trần Minh Ngân, a visitor net Việt in Hanoi.
I'm Thairat Thumya of Thailand's Thairat TV in Bangkok.
I'm Monica Sambodet from the National Television of Cambodia in Phnom Penh.
I'm Raymond Goh of Malaysia's TV3 in Kuala Lumpur.
I'm Glenda Chong of Singapore's Channel News Asia.
I'm Raisa Chantami of the Indonesia Channel at the ASEAN Secretariat in Jakarta.
This is your weekly look into the dynamic Southeast Asia region.
ASEAN Today on the Indonesia Channel.
The Best of Bali takes viewers on a special guided tour to the treasures of the island of the gods.
Well, the romantic dinner is beautiful.
The Best of Bali, only on the Indonesia Channel.
You are watching Hot Indonesia with Millie, Audio, and me. Here's hot topic number 2, precious liquid. It's a household staple that's essential here in daily life. Many Indonesians depend on cooking oil to fry their food because it's easy and cheap. But for some reason, supply became a problem and government imposed a price limit of 14,000 rupiah a liter. Then, last Wednesday, the cap was removed. Prices nearly doubled, and suddenly, there was more oil in the stores. As we know, there is public grumbling about what some call a new kind of oil cartel controlling supply. Audio, how do you make sense of what is a household crisis for many people?
For Indonesian, I think it's pretty common to have their cuisine or food cooked with cooking oil, right? Compared to, let's say, Western countries, they might prefer grill or oven roast, something like that. So in Indonesia, it is a big deal. Especially if you go outside, you go to warteg and many F&Bs. Most of them are fried with cooking oil. So that's the thing. So regarding your, you mentioned something about cartel. In way of oil price, it does make sense with war in Ukraine, with things going on for the past 2 years. But what I was surprised of was, like a few weeks ago, Dalton, when we went to the market, cooking oil wasn't there, right? When I went to even the supermarket, it wasn't there. So I told my wife, should we move to olive oil? I mean, we have been using olive oil anyway. So, and then suddenly there appear like magic. Oh, now there's cooking oil, but the price almost doubled. So, what's going on here? So I think in terms of cartel, it could happen. I'm not saying that, I'm not speculating, but it could happen. It does
speculate, Audio, speculate.
Okay, it does make sense, like especially Indonesia is one of the biggest producer of CPO. And why do we have supply issues, right? Even I read that even the government is regulating that export is being limited, right, for foreign exports. Right. So I'm guessing supply is an actual issue, but I think some of the companies that are producing, that are manufacturing, also want to secure, financially stability and performance for their shareholders. So I guess it kind of makes sense to make, something like this. It's limited. It makes sense to increase the price. It doubles. So at the end of the day, I think, at the end of the day, these companies just need to make money and make their shareholders.
Yeah, and some might call it marketing strategy, but others may find it cruel. Now, on a serious note, in East Kalimantan, authorities said 2 women died there after lining up to buy oil because of heat and fatigue. Millie, in a developing country, and Audio touched on this, boiling or baking food are not options for many. And if you can kind of explain why, it's related to financial situations, right?
Yeah. Well, Indonesians are in love with 2 things, mostly. Number 1, deep fried foods, anything fried foods. And number 2, motorcycles. So the only way to disrupt anything is, one of them is to disrupt the distribution of cooking oil. We have seen evidence in the past month. But unfortunately, the reality of economy and trades in Indonesia is there are mafias, or the middlemen that control, we can say they are invisible hands, the oligarchs, whatever, but they can control and they can corner a commodity, important commodity as cooking oil. And if you think about it, coming up next year, the political year of 23 and 24, sort of this oligarch, they are saying, we can control the supply and the supply of such very important commodities. And I think this can be quite interesting to see in the next couple of years of what these oligarchs will do, especially in the political years. Dalton, this is not something to be. This has to be really monitored closely by the government.
And some candidates in the past, some candidates in the past have talked about oligarchs controlling what goes on in this country even more than the political leaders. But my question was specifically about. I know many Indonesians, particularly out of the city, don't have ovens. They don't have microwaves. I mean, it's so they have to cook their food by frying it, especially because some even lack refrigeration. So you must kill the bacteria that's on fresh food sometimes. So that's a situation in this country. Now, Aryo, the price of a liter of cooking oil, you mentioned it, jumped to around as much as 20,000 rupiah or more, and that's about $1.40 per bag, a liter. That's more than gasoline here. So yes, from a business standpoint, withholding supply while prices are capped, then flooding the market when the cap is removed may be legal, but it's not very cool.
In terms of cooking oil, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, it's not as subsidized as gasoline, correct? Especially in Indonesia. So, that might be the issue with the incremental of price. And speaking of, Bumili mentioned earlier, oligarchs. Honestly, I was surprised that we talking about Indonesian oligarchs. I thought oligarchs only exist in Russia, but no, it's here, right? So. Yeah, in terms of that, it totally makes sense. And earlier you mentioned, economically, it's pretty pricey for Indonesian to buy ovens and everything else. So if you compare economically to buy a whole oven or microwave, it requires the household to spend at least certain hundred thousands of rupiah or even millions. And in frying, you just need to buy one of those movable stove, right? The cheap ones, the small ones. It only costs like 80,000, and then the deep fryer is probably how much, right? So that makes a lot of sense. So in terms of the economy of oil, cooking oil, maybe if you see one of the biggest issues is the warteg owners, Dalton.
And warteg, for those outside of this country, the small little snack shops and stalls, right?
Yeah, basically it's an affordable food provider for usually the middle to lower market of Indonesia, right? So that's a big thing in Indonesia. It's a big industry. Actually, it's a big industry that has not been well recorded because it's they probably don't pay tax and everything. So it impacts a lot. Even before the cooking oil price increase, most wartegs that I've been talking with, they had issue in terms of their financial structures. Their margin has already been small, Dalton. It's very small. When the oil increased double, it increased their cost of goods, right? So oil, if I'm not mistaken, the structure of cooking oil for these kinds of businesses, it costs them like around 5%. Up to 5% of their total cost. So doubling it means it's 10%.
Yeah. So the oil problem in this country is not petroleum; it's cooking oil, which is an interesting dilemma. Okay, real quickly, Millie, to wrap up. You're a member of the Indonesian Chamber of Commerce, Kadin. Is this something that the private sector has to look into, or do we leave it to government?
No, this we leave it to the government. Business communities from the wartegs and all the way to the elites. We love our fried foods. And we hope that, of course, the price of oil can find a new equilibrium. But we are really concerned of the warteks, like Pa Aryo said. The warteks, the lower people, they are really dependent almost 100% on deep fried foods. We love our kerupuks also, right?
Yes.
Even we have to do. We cannot do away with eating crackers. So let's see in the future how this oligarchs vis-a-vis Indonesian people play it out this game.
Yeah, and Millie, when you go back into politics again, yeah, that's your campaign. Cooking oil, cheap for everyone. Yes, you win a lot of votes.
Yes.
All right, more Hot Indo is ahead. Rain stopper. Did this woman really help MotoGP racers on the track?
Produk lokal memang handal, kreasi lokal memang spesial. Ayo beli buatan negeri, bangga sekali produk sendiri. Dari busana sampai kria, kuliner juga buatan kita. Ayo beli kreatif lokal, marilah beli produk kreatif lokal. Pejuang negeri, beli kreatif lokal, banggalah beli produk kreatif lokal. Wow.
I'm Caitlin Turner, and welcome to Yoga Bliss. Exhale, reaching down to triangle pose. Roll your knee out and up to the sky, breathing here.
Yoga Bliss, only on the Indonesia Channel.
It's your girl, Arjuna Glenda,
and you are watching
iPop Playlist.
Kau datang di hidupku, terus berlari.
We play Indonesia's best music videos.
Kau goreskan warna baru dalam lembaran hidupku. Maafkan diriku.
You're watching Hot Indonesia from Jakarta. Hot topic number 3, rain stopper. Now, when rain threatened Indonesia's first MotoGP race in 25 years this past weekend, organizers did what many rational, serious-minded leaders do. Call in the rain stopper. The Pawang Hujan recites Quranic or Javanese verses and then prays either before or during the event. In this case, she walked the circuit chanting, and yes, 30 minutes later, the rain subsided and the race was on. Her name was Rara Isti Wulandari. Many Pawang Hujang are from families of rain stoppers. Millie, you know, we've seen this at many events, including weddings and concerts. It's a business here.
It's a business, and I can't live without them. You know, I organize a lot of events, and when it pours, the events just got either cancelled or delayed, and it's such a nuisance. So Pawang for us is part of our team.
Are you
God
serious?
bless
You're
Pawang.
serious, right, Mel?
Of course. And then I'm also a golfer. As you know, Dalton, you and I, we are golfers. So whenever we are out in the field and we see the clouds already forming, we thought of the Pawang. Come on, Pawang, do your magic, and clear up the sky so we can continue on playing 18 unscathed.
Okay,
Yes,
now,
I love my Pawang.
Audio, I'm sure you believe in science and are a clear thinking man, but I guess event organizers like Millie and others want to be able to say they did everything to put on a good show, even if it still rains, right?
I also just read this from BMKG, the Indonesia's, how do you say, the weather
service,
organization, weather service organization. They announced on the media that no, the rain shaman did not change the weather.
Of course they're going to say that.
They said that, right? It was the effort of the Indonesian Air Force, which they spread out this salt in the clouds and many things. But I'm not saying that the shaman didn't do her part. I always, I agreed with Millie. I mean, I'm a science guy. I don't believe in, how do you say, mystical stuff.
Woo stuff.
But from the past experience, yeah, I mean, I organized a few outdoor events. In the weather forecast, 90% rain. It was a done deal. So what we did is, as a businessman, as an entrepreneur, my decision making was, any kind of activities that can increase the chance, I would do. We pray, we call the shaman, we do everything that we can to increase the chance of it won't rain, right?
Yeah, and like I said, if as long as it works, that's all that counts. No, everybody can take the credit. Who cares, right?
Yeah.
Okay, now it is feedback time now. John posted this on the YouTube page of our partner TV1 regarding Indonesia's invitation to the leader of the Catholic Church. Happy to see the world's largest Muslim nation will welcome the Pope with open arms. And we had many reactions to Sandrina Maliciano leaving the show. Rana said this on the TIC YouTube channel. So sad and feel lost. Sandrina made me follow the Indonesia channel. Well, we share your loss, Rana, but we're still here. Here's how to contact us with your feedback. Email at hotindo@theindonesiachannel.com or comment through our Hot Indonesia or Indonesia channel Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube pages. Final words, Millie.
I'm going to Bali this weekend to attend a friend's daughter's wedding. And I'm so hopeful that Bali is at least 50-60% normal, which means more restaurants opening, more cafes, more golf courses opening, and more people coming. So please, Hot Indonesia viewers, wherever you are, Bali is open. Please come to Bali. We are ready to host you.
Final words, Audio.
It's something random that I talked about with my partners last night. It's the rule of life, the rule of decisions in life, Will it make you money? If not, will it change the world? If not, will it make you happy? If still no, screw that. Bye-bye. Don't do it.
Simple, but good philosophy. Okay. My final words, it's been a while since we've seen such a global response to the war in Ukraine and the positive reception for refugees seeking safety. Now, that's a good thing, but we must also not forget others displaced due to violence, such as in Myanmar and Palestine. When governments fight, the people always suffer. And that is Hot Indonesia for this week. For Millie Lukito and Audio Tejo, I'm Dalton Tanonaka. Thank you very much for watching. Please join us again next time.